let's go ahead and get started. So have a seat on your mat. And let's take a moment to kind of get centered in. Find your straight, aligned spine. Let your shoulders relax, let your jaw relax. Maybe even close your eyes. Take a super deep inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Just take a couple of normal breaths as you feel into your body. Noticing all the parts, anything that might feel tight or stiff, anything that feels really fantastic already. And then let's start our Ujjayi breathing, that restricted epiglottis that gives us that beautiful whisper sigh sound, breath all through the nose. And then check in with thoughts, emotions, energy. Bring palms together in front of your heart and just pause for a moment, being really clear about your intention for your practice this morning. When you're clear about your intention, take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. We're going to go ahead and come to standing at the front of the mat in Tadasana and just get really rooted and grounded for a moment. So you might even want to lift and spread your toes. Plant your heels solidly. Feel the soles of the feet really connecting downward. And then we're going to lift the sternum up, but kind of tuck the lower part of the rib cage in. So core should be slightly engaged. Shoulders should feel as though they're aligned over the hips and the ears are over the shoulders. Just pause for a moment. Feel your connection to the earth. And take a moment and feel your strength and your stability. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. And then inhale, reach the arms up, stretch up, spread your fingers, lift your heart. Look up if that feels okay with your neck. Hold this for 2 more breaths. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and bend your knees, gently folding forward to hang in ragdoll. Giving your spine an opportunity to lengthen slightly. And then from here, just place fingertips or hands beside the feet. It's up to you how much the legs straighten. We want the spine to straighten and lengthen forward. So a half forward bend. And then full forward bend. And this being the first one, it might be that the knees continue to stay bent. We're going to step back with our left foot. So we have a right foot forward lunge. Just hold that for a couple of breaths. Really connecting to the ground through your feet and hands here and exploring how your hips feel. Let's go ahead and drop the left knee down. You're going to take your right hand to the inside of your right knee, roll to the outside edge of that right foot, and gently apply some pressure. So just kind of beginning to open right hip, right inner thigh a little bit. Let your right knee point back up towards the ceiling. Raise the arms up and overhead. Allow the pelvis to tilt back slightly, the rib cage to lift, and then your hips move forward. So we're just starting to get into the front of the left hip, feeling into that. If it feels okay on your next exhale, just rotate open to your right. Arms are out like a T. We'll take the left hand to the ground, Right hand to the ceiling for a moment. And then bring your right hand down outside that right foot, fully extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Saying good morning to that right hamstring, maybe even the right calf. And then bend your right knee, right hand to the inside of the right foot, and see if you can make it down onto left forearm, maybe both. Come back up onto your hands and step back to plank. And let's just hold plank for a moment, allowing the core to become very engaged and awake. First time down, modifying, dropping down knees, chest, and chin. And then untucking the toes, sliding the forearms forward to come into a nice spine lengthening sphinx. And then from here, downward facing dog. Feel free to do any little movements you need to, like pedaling the feet on this first down dog. And then just make sure that your palms are nice and flat, your fingers are spread, you're kind of plugging your hands into the floor. Your hips are reaching up and back and your heels are reaching down. And then step forward with your left foot. And we'll just hold our lunge here for a couple of breaths. Checking in on the other side now. And then we'll go ahead and drop the right knee down. Bring the left hand to the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside edge of the left foot. And apply some pressure, checking in on that left hip, left inner thigh. Let the left knee point back up towards the ceiling. Arms are up and overhead. Pelvis tilts, ribcage lifts, hips move forward so that we can start to open up front of the right hip. If it feels okay on your next exhale, go ahead and open out to the left. Arms are kind of like a T. That right hip continues to move forward. And we're just going to take that right hand to the ground, left hand to the ceiling. Left hand outside the left foot, fully extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Now you should be feeling your left hamstring, maybe even the left calf. Bend that left knee again. Bring your left hand inside the left foot. Come on to your right forearm, perhaps the left. Remember, you can always use a block if you need it as well. It helps the floor rise up to meet you. And then hands on either side of that left foot, and we'll step forward to a standing forward bend. Notice if this forward bend feels a little different from the first one. Maybe the legs are becoming a little straighter or the hips are feeling a little more open. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And as you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. This time stepping back with the right foot. Hold your lunge for a moment. Keep that right hand planted. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling.
And then if you feel like you can, both arms are going to come up and overhead, high lunge. Remember, if you need to modify, you can take your right knee down to the ground. Otherwise, just kind of play with lifting the chest and letting the hips sink a little closer to the mat. Hands on either side of the left foot, gaze forward, begin to straighten your left leg. Remember, it does not have to go all the way straight. You just do the best you can. It's all about the sensation, in this case, in the back of the left thigh. Bend your left knee, left hand to the inside of the left foot. See if you can come on to perhaps your right forearm or both. So just deepening these stretches, but remember, you can always have the knee down if necessary. From here, we come back up onto our hands, step back to plank position, and now we flow through a full traditional vinyasa. So your inhale is plank here. As you exhale, you lower down. As you inhale, you come into either cobra or upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Connect with your Ujjayi breath. It'll be very helpful. It always is. Step forward with your right foot. Just holding your lunge for a moment. And then taking right hand up towards the ceiling. And then if you can, we're going to take both arms up and overhead. And we're trying to allow the hips to sink a little bit. Bring your hands on either side of your right foot, gaze forward and begin to straighten your right leg. And we're going to bend the right leg, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot, perhaps come on to the left forearm, maybe even get both of them down. And then come back up onto your hands and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, arms reach all the way up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, standing forward bend. Inhale, halfway up, half forward bend. Exhale all the way back down. So we're going to step back with our left foot, spin the heel flat, come up into warrior two. Just take a moment feeling your strength and your stability in your warrior. Making sure that right knee is pressing towards the little toes so the right outer hip is engaged. And your drishti, your soft gaze, should be over your right middle finger. Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over, reverse your warrior. Come all the way back up, and I want you to go ahead and straighten your right leg, lengthen the rib cage to the right, find triangle pose. Remember, equal length on both sides of the spine. You're going to come back up into your warrior two. And then we're just going to adjust the feet. Now, everybody's a little different, depends on your hip mobility. For me, I'm going to move my right foot a little to the right because I'm going to rotate around into warrior one. You may not even need to adjust your feet. If your hips are more supple than mine, you can simply rotate your torso and your hips. My hips don't rotate without a wider stance, so I adjusted my feet. I've got both hip bones pointing forward, warrior one. Interlacing the fingers behind the back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, folding forward, Right shoulder to right thigh, relaxing the neck, humble warrior. Coming all the way back up. And then you have an option here. You may keep your fingers interlaced, which is what I'm going to choose to do, or you can release your hands. Now we're going to transition into warrior three. So the left leg extends behind you. You keep your chest pulling forward and you begin to lean. And the idea is to get as close to horizontal as possible, but you want that left leg fully extended and your spine to stay extended. Now from warrior three, we're going to put our left foot back down. Warrior two, full circle. And then take your hands to the mat and take a vinyasa. Lengthen your downward facing dog. So it's all warriors today, right? Warrior one, warrior two, warrior three, reverse warrior, and humble warrior. Let's step forward with the left foot, spin the right heel flat, and come up, warrior two. And the warrior poses are all about strength. They are named after a warrior, so Virabhadrasana is named after Virabhadra, the warrior who is an offshoot of Shiva. Go ahead and reverse your warrior. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over. And then you're going to come back up. And again, it's up to you if you need to adjust your feet. I do, so I'm going to. And transition into warrior one. And remember, for your warrior one, your hips should rotate forward. So it's okay to make those little adjustments if you need to. I forgot your triangle pose, didn't I? We'll hit it in just a second. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and fold forward into humble warrior. Relax your neck. Reach the arms up and overhead. And then come on back up. And again, you have the option of keeping your fingers interlaced or extending them in front of you, whichever is happier for you as you transition into warrior three. Right leg extends behind you. Now, as you put your right foot back down, warrior two, and I'll give you that triangle that I cheated you out of a second ago to straighten your left leg. Kick your hips to the right, lengthen the rib cage out. Let's find triangle pose here. I distracted myself talking about Virabhadra. Sorry about that. Coming back up, warrior two. Strength, stability. Hands to the mat, take your vinyasa. Really, really lengthen that tailbone back. And then you can either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So now we'll work our transitions a little differently. I'm gonna have you go ahead and find the correct distance between your feet for warrior one. For most of us, it's sit bone or hip bone distance. You may be different. We're gonna step the left foot back, spin that heel flat, and really make sure that our hips are rotated forward. I like to put my hands on my hips, pull the right hip back, push the left hip forward, and make sure that left leg is straight. Arms are overhead. Warrior one. One more breath here. And then we're going to keep the arms extended if you can and lift off for our warrior three. I want you to put your left foot back down, warrior one. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Fold forward, humble warrior.
Now, while I'm here, I'm actually going to adjust my feet a little bit because we're going to be transitioning into a variation on warrior two. So you're going to keep your legs like they are, although your feet may somewhat adjust. I want you to just start drifting your torso towards the midline of the body. You've done this with me before from a warrior two position, correct? So you should feel this in your right hip, right side of the low back. And then as you rise up and release the arms, you should be in warrior two.
Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over, reverse your warrior. And then we'll come up and take the hands to the mat,
Flow through a vinyasa. You can either walk or jump your feet forward, standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up.
exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Same thing other side. Find the correct distance for your feet. Again, for most of us, it's sit bone distance. Right leg steps back, foot goes flat. We get our hips adjusted forward for warrior one. And then lifting off, warrior three. Put your right foot back down, warrior one. Interlace fingers behind the back, folding forward, humble warrior.
Remember, if you want to adjust your feet, you can. You're going to just take your torso now more towards the midline of the body. So you should feel left hip, left side of the low back opening. And then we're going to come up and we'll be in warrior two. Hands to the mat, take your vinyasa. Really lengthen in your down dog, stretch it back. From this downward facing dog, you can either walk or jump forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up.
Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to do one more, warrior three. This is a standalone. I'm going to ask you to keep your palms together in front of your heart. So Anjali Mudra. I'd like you to stand on your right foot first. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to just get a really straight vertical spine. Bring the left knee up into the chest. And then as you hinge at your right hip, you're going to keep your left leg behind you. As you reach the level that works for you, I want you to be really focused on a straight left knee. Your left glute should be engaged to raise a straight leg. And your heart and your gaze are forward. Come back up, left foot down. Find that nice straight spine. Bring your right knee up into your chest. As you hinge at your left hip, extend your right leg behind you. And then focus on straightening the right leg and raising it by tightening your right buttock. Heart and gaze are forward. Come on back up and release. Both feet down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. Step back with your left foot. Spin your left heel flat. Come up into warrior two. Scoot your right foot forward a little bit. Deepen your pose. Now this is different for everyone. The end point of a warrior two, should you choose to go there, is with the right thigh, in this case, parallel to the ground. Reverse your warrior, left hand, left thigh, right arm up and over. Come on up, straighten your right leg. Let's take another triangle, lengthening the rib cage. Come back up into your nice deep warrior two. Interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades, and fold right down the middle. A little bit of extra hip opening here. Coming all the way back up, warrior two. Hands to the mat, take your vinyasa. From here, we're going to step our left foot forward, spin the right heel flat, come up, warrior two. And then if you can, challenge yourself a little bit, scoot that left foot forward, deepen your warrior to the best of your ability. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over, reverse your warrior. Come all the way back up, straighten that left leg, we'll take another triangle pose, lengthen out. Spine should feel very long on both sides. Come all the way back up, warrior two. And from this deep warrior, interlace your fingers, fold forward, relax your neck. You're trying to get down the midline of the body here. Keep that left knee bent. Come all the way back up, warrior two. And then take your hands to the mat and take your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, we're going to go ahead and drop to the knees. So the last time we got together, we worked a little bit on the front of the hips, and we played this hero pose with a block. We're not going to use a block, but we're going to kind of play with it. So if you have knee issues and or ankle hip issues, you're just going to be keeping weight on your hands. Here's what I'd like you to do. Bring your knees together. Separate your feet. Now, be mindful of your feet not winging out onto the big toe side of your foot. You should be on the top of the feet. Start walking your hands back, sitting your buns down. So if you have knee or hip issues, you might have your backside way up in the air right now, and that's fine. And that's where you'll stay. You just kind of play with shifting your weight. If you feel like you can, you'll go ahead and sit your bum down between your heels. And your hands come to your thighs, and your spine straightens and you breathe. Come on out of that. Go straight in to downward facing dog. So there's one other warrior in the yoga tradition besides Virabhadra. His name is Vasistha. Vasisthasana, which is side plank. We're going to finish out with that before we get into our side and seated poses. So what I'd like you to do, if you are able, is we're gonna roll to the left, stack the right foot on top of the left, and take the right hand to the ceiling. If you need to modify, drop your left knee down. Otherwise, roll up. And by the way, if you have wrist issues, you may do this from your forearm. Ideally, your feet are stacked. Right hand is up, and if you feel like you can, you shift your gaze and you look at your right thumb. Downward facing dog. And then if you can, you roll to the right. Remember, if you need to modify, drop the right knee down and do it as a modified side plank. Otherwise, left foot stacks on top of right. The feet are flexed. And if you can, you're shifting your gaze up towards your left thumb. Come back to downward facing dog and stretch. And then shift into plank and take your final vinyasa for today's practice. From this downward facing dog, you can either walk or jump forward and have a seat. Legs extended for Dandasana. So we just find our nice straight spine. We make sure our legs are active. Check in, body, breath, mind, heart, energy. Inhale both arms up, and as you exhale, extend your spine out over your legs, and then relax the shoulders, relax the arms. And they may comfortably clasp whatever your hands are closest to, but no overreaching, no compressing in the neck, just lengthening through the spine. If you can keep your feet and ankles flexed, you might feel this in the calves as well as the hamstrings, maybe a little bit in the glutes, maybe a wee bit in the back. Come on up from that. We're going to keep the right leg straight. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over the right leg. The same thing applies. Shoulders should be relaxed. Right ankle and toes should be active. Wherever your right hand is, keep it there. It's perfect. Just raise your torso back up. Reach your left arm behind you and begin to bend your right elbow, kind of as though you were going to put your right armpit on your right knee. You don't have to, but that's the idea. Relax your neck. And then reach your left arm up and overhead while pushing your left hip strongly into the mat, reaching through left fingertips. Left arm is kind of parallel to the floor. You're getting a really deep side stretch here on the left. And then just let your left hand come wherever your right hand was. Rotate your torso around, bringing your right hand beside your right hip. Bend your left elbow, even if it's a micro bend, a tiny bend. Bend your left elbow as you pull yourself forward, and then push a little bit with your right hand to twist and look over your right shoulder. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the left foot up and bring it across the right thigh. Left foot is flat. Just give yourself your best spinal twist to the left. So your left hand is behind you. Your spine is straight as you rotate to the left, looking over left shoulder. You're either hugging your left knee or your right arm is outside of the left knee or thigh. Rotate back around, extend your left leg, reconnect to your sit bones. Feel free to wiggle the legs a little if you need to. And then we're going to keep the left leg straight. Bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh Lengthen out over that left leg, just like we did over the right a couple of minutes ago. Shoulders are relaxed, spine is lengthening. Left ankle and toes should be active. And then wherever your left hand is, keep it there. Just raise the torso slightly, reach the right arm behind you, and then start to bend your left elbow as though you were going to put your left armpit on your left knee. Relax your neck, reach your right arm up and over your head, parallel to the ground, pushing that right hip into the mat to get a nice deep stretch on the right side of your torso. Let your right hand come down where your left hand is. Put your left hand beside your left hip. Bend your right elbow. So important. Just even a micro bend, but you're pulling yourself forward by bending the right elbow. And then push with your left hand to twist and look over the left shoulder. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the right foot up and bring it across the left thigh. Right foot is flat, and we come into our seated twist to the right. Right hand is behind you. The left arm is either hugging the right knee or the left elbow is outside of the right knee. And then coming back around, extend both legs out, give them a good wiggle. From here, we're going to go ahead and roll onto our backs, hugging the knees into the chest and rocking side to side. So we're just going to do a couple of quick abdominals. This is all about strength, stability, power, all qualities that warriors embody. So we're going to do the easier version though. You're going to keep your knees bent, but I'd like your thighs to be vertical. So don't let your knees hug into your chest. You want them at least vertical, and if you're feeling extra strong today, they can be beyond vertical, but your feet are off the ground, either extended out or just relaxed. I'd like you to interlace your fingers behind your neck and make sure it's your neck and not your head. Keep your elbows pointed towards the ceiling. So you're kind of wrapping your neck to support your neck. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath and flatten your back by tilting the pelvis. And then as you exhale, you're going to crunch up, taking your elbows towards your thighs, staying up until your lungs are 100% empty. Inhale down. Hold the breath, flatten the back, exhale and crunch. Inhale down. Hold the breath, flatten the back, exhale and crunch. Just two more. Inhale down. Hold your breath as you tilt the pelvis back, and then exhale completely as you reach those elbows towards the thighs, not letting the thighs come towards you. Inhale down. Hold your breath, tilt your pelvis, exhale, crunching elbows towards thighs, breathing every little molecule of air out, and then inhaling down, hugging your knees and rocking side to side. So today's practice was considered a more lunar gang active practice, which sort of counteracts that amazing full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse that we had last night. All of that to say, if it's part of your practice, my recommendation for your inversion would be a shoulder stand because it's a cooling pose. But if that's not part of your practice because you have neck or shoulder issues, then please feel free to do a bridge pose, or perhaps even better, legs up the wall. Otherwise, if you are able, let's go ahead and take a quick shoulder stand, just allowing the body to cool a bit. We're gonna slowly come on out of shoulder stand, or if you're in a different inversion, come out of it, hug your knees in. Keep your right knee hugged in and extend your left leg all the way out onto the ground. Just hugging the right knee for a moment. Pavanamuktasana, wind relieving pose, is a lovely way to unwind the right side of the low back and right hip. We're going to transition this into a twist. So your right arm's going to open out to the right, and you're going to twist to your left. And by the way, your right foot can be relaxed on the floor in front of your left leg, or you can hook the toes of your right foot inside or behind your left knee or thigh and get a little bit deeper twist. So you do what's best for you. And if you need to modify, you could bend both knees and make it even gentler. On your next inhale, come on back up. As you exhale, hug your right hand, and then bring your left knee up to meet it. Feel free to sneak in a little rock if you need one, and then we'll keep the left knee hugged in and extend the right leg out for wind relieving pose on the left. So really hugging that left knee into your chest. And then we'll transition into a twist. Left arm's going to open out to the left. You're going to twist yourself to your right. Remember, you can modify by bending both knees. You can deepen the twist or lighten the twist, whatever's best for your body. On your next inhale, come on back up, and as you exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. Bring your right knee up to meet it, rock side to side. And then go ahead and grab the outside edges of your feet and begin to do your little happy baby exploration. So remember, happy baby means you move. Like, you don't have to. Maybe that's part of the exploration, is you don't want to. You find one position, you want to hang out there. However, the beauty of the pose is that there's really no rules. You just kind of get to play around a little bit and see what's going on in the lower body. So take advantage of your opportunity. Just kind of get in some organic movement. Couple more breaths. And when you feel like you're ready, you can place your feet on the mat. We're going to take the feet wider than the mat, just to the edges, maybe just beyond the edges. And we're going to do this breath centered. So it's a slight outer hip stretch, but we're not going to be staying in it. So my recommendation is that you make your breath really slow and long so that you can have a second or two to linger in the pose before we transition. So as you exhale with feet wide, both knees are going to drop to the right. You should feel a little something on that left outer hip. As you inhale, the knees come back up, and as you exhale, they drop to the left. And you should feel a little something on the right outer hip. And so that's what we're going to do. Inhaling, legs up. You're going to move at your own breath rate. Exhaling them to one side. Inhaling them up and exhaling them the other way. And just continue on your own.
Let's go one more time on each side. When you are finished going both ways, keep the feet wide and prop your knees together. You'll feel a gentle stretch on the outer hips. If you have particularly supple hips, you might keep your knees touching and even move the feet farther apart. We're here for 3 breaths, and then we'll do the opposite. Start to bring your feet in towards each other until they are touching, and you can let your knees drop open, soles of the feet together. Hold this for a couple of breaths. And then on your next inhale, you're going to flatten the low back. So you're tilting the pelvis, just removing any space between your back and the mat. This is lengthening your low back muscles. Next time you exhale, go ahead and release that. Let the curve come back into your spine. And then one more time, inhale, press that low back into the mat. On your next exhale, release and begin to extend your legs, separate your feet. Feel free to wiggle if you need to. And then just pause and make sure that your glutes are relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, eyes are closed. Take a really deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Giving your body permission to completely release, let go of everything. Truly let go of everything. So that also means letting go of control of your breath. Letting go of expectations, letting go of obligations and responsibilities, letting go of everything for now. So full moons are about letting go, about releasing, about endings, about culmination. They are the perfect time to shed anything that needs to be shed. And in doing so, we find our core, our strength, our stability. So as you lie here, deeply relaxed in Shavasana, I'd like you to think of 1 or 2 core values. What are the core values that are most important to you in life? When you're clear on what those 1 or 2 core values are, I want you to allow yourself to let go of anything that isn't in alignment with those. Anything that is not in perfect alignment with or in support of your core values, let it go. That might mean that you have to let go of some outdated beliefs. It might mean that you have to let go of some thought patterns. It might mean that you have to let go of some old emotions. It might mean that you have to let go of a false sense of control. That's a big one for me. I'm constantly
reminding myself to let go of control, because honestly, I don't have it anyway, but I like to think I do. So anything that's not in alignment with your core values, give yourself permission in these next few minutes of deep relaxation to simply release them, to let them go, to set them free, and in doing so, set yourself free. Notice the strength it requires to recognize what you need to let go of. Notice the stability and freedom that come with letting go. And just slowly starting to feel back into your body, noticing if there are any physical effects of your Shavasana. Sometimes simply in letting go of old beliefs, the thought patterns, we release in our body too. Maybe that's true for you, maybe not. Maybe nothing has changed. But just observe without any expectation or judgment. Notice how the body is. Begin to deepen your breath a little bit. Begin to move your fingers and toes. As you're ready, take a deeper breath in, spread your fingers and toes. As you exhale, relax them again. Even deeper breath in, stretch, 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 and lengthen. Exhale with a sigh, relax. Bend your knees, maybe even hugging them in your chest. Roll to your right side. And then press yourself up into sitting. So as you come to your seated position, find that nice straight spine with relaxed shoulders and relaxed jaw, and just check in. How's your body? How's your breath? Your mind, your heart, your energy? And then in keeping with this whole strength and stability, the warrior flow that we did, which is very solar plexus oriented, and keeping with the idea of balancing out this crazy full moon energy that we had and doing some solar breathing, and keeping in concert with the idea of releasing and letting go, we're going to do Kapalabhati breath, which by the way is also a purifying breath. It's a kriya, a purification process. So it's solar plexus oriented, warrior flow, right? It's very purifying, so it supports that letting go, and it's also very solar, so it helps balance out the full moon energy. So it's truly the perfect breath for this morning. We're going to do 2 rounds. Go at your own speed. Make sure it's abdominal muscles that are contracting to push the air out. If your hips are tight and you are contracted already because your back is rounded, you're going to need to elevate your hips. You've got to have length on the front of the abdomen to do this breath correctly. So we're going to do 2 rounds, all through the nose if you can. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale completely through the nose. Deep breath in. Breathe out half of your air and begin. Big inhale, raise your arms overhead. Spread your fingers, hold your breath for 3, 2, 1. Exhale the arms back down. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale halfway, begin round 2. Big inhale, arms up. Spread the fingers, hold. Exhale, float your arms down. Just let your hands rest palms up on your knees or thighs. Close your eyes if you opened them. And I want you to just sit for a moment and notice what things feel like now. And notice at all levels. Notice how your body feels. Notice your breathing as it returns to normal. Notice how your mind and heart and energy feel. And then slowly bring palms together in front of the heart. Just taking a moment in gratitude for whatever measure of strength and stability we possess. We must be immensely grateful for that. Gratitude for the breath that animates these bodies we currently inhabit. Gratitude for the mind that is able to observe all of these things. Gratitude for our lives. Gratitude for this moment. Take one more huge breath in through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Bringing palms together in front of the forehead, we're just reminded to stay present, to be in the moment. Bringing palms together in front of the mouth, we're reminded to speak our truth. And bringing palms together in front of the heart, we're reminded to keep our hearts open, to always be kind and compassionate, and to love unconditionally. Thank you for joining me this morning. Namaste.